Welcome into Club Football Weekly here on Radio DePaul Sports, the student voice of your DePaul Blue Demons. I'm Eli Herskovich. Head coach Carlos Jones and safety IvanRojas are in studio for the entire hour. We'll be talking to you about the past game on Sunday with Loyola, a 30-6 loss for the Blue Demons, and they'll come back against Oakland this upcoming weekend. We'll get to that game as well. Coach and Ivan, it's great to have you in studio. I know this is your first time doing radio, Ivan, but it must be exciting.
Yeah, it's great. I'd like to thank Coach for getting me out here. Any chance we get to represent the Blue Demons and our club team, it's an opportunity we got to take.
The coach is doing a great job of getting everybody in studio this year. We'll have a bunch of more athletes coming in here to talk about the club football team. Coach, it's great to have you back, and let's get into the game from Sunday. A couple struggles, especially at the quarterback position for Connor Skelly. He completed 6 of 18, a completion percentage of 33 yards, only passing for 34 yards, and 4 touchdowns, sacked 4 times. What do you think really caused his struggles against the Ramblers?
I think mostly nerves. As a young guy, just trying to, find his way. It was his first game, and I think it just, nerves, and like I said before, just don't let the moment be too big for you. And I think that kind of got in the way of his concentration, and it caused him to make some mistakes.
How good was that Loyola defense against you guys?
It wasn't like they were just overwhelming and just a bunch of freak athletes. It was a lot of mistakes on our part, but at the end of the day, they made the plays that they needed to, and we did.
What did you expect out of your running backs coming into Sunday? If we go down the stats here, the yardage, 40 yards here, if I do my quick math. I know it wasn't great last week either, but 74 yards combined rushing for the DePaul Blue Demons total against Loyola. What are you looking for coming up here against Oakland to try to get your running game back on track, trying to open up the passing game, or what is the big thing for you? Does the passing game open up the running game for your team, or vice versa?
We like to have a balance. We don't like to focus too much on one thing or the other. We kind of go with the flow. It depends on how the game is going. We had some breakdowns in the offensive line. We had one of our left tackle was injured early on in the game. That kind of put a little strain on us. Get some younger guys in there to try to fill that void. But at the end of the day, the next guy got to be up and make plays, and we didn't do that.
Who was the most impressive running back to you on the field between the 4 or 5 who split carries?
John Bill had a good game. And the stats may not show it, but he ran hard, and he made the most of what he had available to him, and he'll continue to get better along with the rest of the team.
What about Kevin, and what did he do for you at the tailback position, trying to divide up the carries? Were you happy with the production from your 4 tailbacks in terms of their first ever club football game?
Yeah, we were. They ran hard. They gave us a spark. Like I said, we had some breakdowns in some of the blocking, miscommunications here and there, and along with the injuries. But they ran hard. They ran hard. They saw the lanes, and they made some plays. And, I'm happy with it. We'll get better. I'm not, too concerned with how they play.
I know this is a big stat for you here. So Eddie Serrano had 3 carries for 12 yards, but not only did he have those stats, he had the first ever, or the first one in a long time, the first touchdown for DePaul club football, passing that one to Serrano as well. So how about that? What do you expect from these two, the Serrano brothers, or twins, trying to go out and trying to continue their success? And also for the first Eddie Serrano, playing some running back and quarterback, how do you expect to divide his playing time at both of those positions?
Well, Demetrio and Eddie are not related. They just share the same last name. So
I like to think they are.
They do have some kind of little Serrano connection going, but it was just, Eddie, some people call him a wildcat guy, but he's not. It's not really a wildcat package. It's just a change of pace. He just gives us another dimension, but it's not necessarily a wildcat. He could go in and he can make all the throws. A lot of wildcat quarterbacks just run the ball. He ran the ball when protection broke down. He can throw the ball as well as anybody else on the team. And it was, the play wasn't a very difficult throw. Demetrio made a huge play. It was a screen pass, and he basically just took it and made something happen. It was a good pass, by Eddie, and we were fortunate to get it going.
Do you expect to have a quarterback competition on your hands? Do you want a Wildcat quarterback in Eddie Serrano taking the snaps maybe full-time or mostly full-time, or do you like that potential signal caller, the pocket passer, the traditional quarterback in Connor Skelly?
I don't know about I mean, some may call it a controversy. We shuffle guys a little bit, but every position is a competition. Every week, I tell the guys in practice every week that, you have to compete. Your job could be, replaced each week. If you don't perform the way you need to perform, we're looking for the next guy who's going to make plays, because at the end of the day, we have to win games. We have to be successful. And if you're not getting the job done for whatever reason, we have to look, to other alternatives. But there's not really a controversy. We like Connor. We like the things that he can do. But Eddie gives us another dimension, and we'll look at, we'll explore every possibility because we have to be successful.
Mentioned Demetrio Serrano's name earlier. He had 4 catches for 46 yards. The longest one was the 30-yard pass, and also a touchdown to add on to those stats. How impressed were you with him as a receiver?
Oh, very impressed. He made some big plays. He made a lot of things happen when there wasn't much to do. Like I said, he did a lot of the heavy lifting on that screen pass. He did a lot of the work, cut across the field, and made some guys miss, and scored the first touchdown in a lot of years, and that was a huge deal for us.
Is that something you'll look to get more of? A couple screen passes to try to get the offense maybe started up early on and trying to get some of your best players in the open field?
Yeah, the screen game is a big part of our offense. It relaxes the defense, makes them a little honest, let them, where they aren't able to rush us as hard as they would like to, and if they do, and that's when they get in trouble. And that's kind of what happened on that play. We tried it a couple times earlier in the game, and we had a little bit of success on it. A couple of his catches were on that jailbreak screen. So, yeah, it's a big, part of our offense, and it's something that we look to use.
John Beal, the tailback, was also targeted 3 times in that game, had the 1 catch for 9 yards. How do you look to get your receivers more opportunities? A lot of targets, not a lot of receptions, 7 total receptions on Sunday. How do you look to get the receivers going early and often against Oakland?
Well, we got to have, better quarterback play, from whoever we put in the game. It's not, on one guy, and when Eddie was in the game, he made a few mistakes. Connor made a few mistakes, but those guys are both capable, and they're going to make some big plays for us down the stretch. They're going to learn and grow from it. That's the theme that we've been carrying this last, 4 or 5, days, is just grow. We got to grow from every opportunity and every experience that we go through. So those guys are going to get the receivers the ball. We just got to be patient and let these guys get comfortable. It was the first game. There's a lot of media there, a lot of, activity going on the sideline and cameras in everybody's faces, and there's a lot going on.
Adjustments.
Big. Yeah.
You got to adjust to the media attention. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I'll bring in IvanRojas, the safety for DePaul Club football. Ivan, how did the media? How did you feel about that? Having everyone in your face in your first club football game for DePaul against Loyola.
It created a lot of nerves for us. I think Loyola did a great job of hosting us. They did. They brought out a lot of old alumni, and I think that that kind of created the nerves for us. Put the hype on the game and just really increased that rivalry for us.
If we go look at the defensive stats here, IvanRojas had a terrific game from over the weekend. Don't see him here on the stat sheet. Oh, here we go. IvanRojas, there we go. 4.5 tackles and the 1 sack. What did you look to do, and how did you look to try to exploit some of Loyola's disadvantages on offense?
Well, they came out on the option, and I think once we kind of got a handle on that every chance we could, we had to take a good read, not come inside, and then just really work that CRR, which we always talk about, work the outside, and once we got a hold of that, I think we kept them at bay.
8-6 was the score in the second half, so you talk about adjustments. How did you try to adjust against Loyola, and how did it work in the second half?
Well, in the second half, we decided to go cover 2, and I think that was a good idea. I think it took kind of pressure off the man-to-man coverage, and it gave us that help. So we got guys to cover over top, guys coming under the middle, and it takes that pressure off you knowing that you have somebody covering you over top.
Coach, is cover 2 the new defensive scheme that you want to look towards for next week?
No, not particularly. I mean, cover 2 is something that we've always had. We've always ran. Like I said, it's those IGAs, those in-game adjustments. It just depends on what we see and what's hurting us. when you have an option game and they want to run the ball heavy and you're in man to man, the receivers are running the DBs off. They're not going to know it's a run until late. So if you play cover 2, you have those corners sitting there and they're able to read it and make more help on the run game.
Who really impressed you besides Ivan in the defensive backfield, in the secondary, but also on defense in the second half turnaround that DePaul had?
Well, we had a few players. Riley made a big play, had a big deflection in the end zone that gave us an interception. Alex Smith, our middle linebacker, had 6 tackles, and he was always around the ball. He also ran a fake punt for a first down for 22 yards, which was a huge play to keep our momentum going. And there was quite a few standouts. On the defense, those guys flew around, and even though that they were on the field quite a bit, a little worn out, they actually made some plays and got a lot of stops. We just had to sustain some more drives on offense to keep those guys off the field.
Hi, Ivan, I want to get to you here. Talk about how you guys really tried to improve in the second half. We mentioned that a little bit, but who did you work with best on Sunday, communication-wise? As you said, you are the strong safety. So how did you work well with your defensive mates on Sunday?
Well, I have to give a big shout out to Alex Smith. I mean, he did a great job of being our defensive leader and getting the calls out, making sure everybody was on point. And then, when we're getting those coverages out, we only have a few seconds to make those adjustments, and our communication was just perfect. Everybody was calling it out, making sure we had people covered, and just right on top of it.
So Alex Smith was your Mike linebacker. He did a great job at that.
Awesome. I mean, every play he got the calls in. He made adjustments on the line even, maybe switched somebody around. He did a phenomenal job.
How do you look to improve yourself personally? And I mentioned this when we had Blue Demon Weekly on, that yes, some games and soccer especially is more so where players need to be unselfish, but on defense too, trying to take chances when you're trying to maybe intercept a pass or trying to force a fumble when your team is down. How do you look to improve on defense?
Just have faith in my defense. Just know that by me doing my job, everybody else is doing their job, and I can focus on doing what I have to do on the field, and we come together as a team.
Is there anything specifically that you're looking towards against Oakland this coming weekend, trying to take advantage of with your skill set?
I think I need to work on the inside run a little bit more. Flowing over the top when we're working that 3-4. You really got to work your way back in the middle. When you got to cover those gaps and make sure you fill those holes.
Who was someone that maybe struggled in some of those techniques over the summer and into training camp that really improved and really stood out to you on the defensive side of the football, Ivan?
Standouts, I mean, I'm new to this program. I'm only a week in, so I'm the new guy. I think,
So you're the one who improved.
Yeah, I think, everybody, they put a lot of faith in me in this week, and I appreciate everybody, having faith and putting me on that field, and especially Coach. And we did it. Defense stepped up a lot of times. Going into that second half, we knew it was going to be a defensive game, and we took it.
So 1 week into the DePaul Club football program, where's your past experience coming from here in football and trying to bring that experience to DePaul Club football?
Well, I played, since a kid, 7th grade, Pop Warner and that such, and then I played at Addison Trail High School and played varsity for 2 years. Went to the West Suburban Gold Conference my junior year with my team. We made it to the first round of playoffs. Thought my glory was over. Found DePaul had a football team, and I couldn't be more excited. Yeah, absolutely.
IvanRojas is back and playing some good football. Let's bring it back to the coach here, looking at the overall stats. 7 turnovers for DePaul Club football, and cringing at that stat. We could see it in the coach's face right here. And 3 takeaways for yourself. So first, how do you look to bring out the positives out of the 7 turnovers, trying to get it to your team that you can't turn over the football, even though it was their first game?
Yeah, anytime you turn over the ball, anytime it's going to be difficult to be successful. I think they understand that. I think a lot of it was just nerves and just rushing and trying to do too much. To try to play a little bit outside their means instead of just just relaxing and just taking what the defense gives you. I mean, we had a lot of opportunities, and I think we just panicked a little bit and got a little ahead of ourselves. We had some early success in the first series. First snap, Loyola fumbled the ball. We got the ball back on like the 24-yard line, and we had a couple good offensive plays. We weren't able to punch it in there, and I think we tried to do a little bit too much instead of just relaxing and just letting the game come to us, and it caused a couple turnovers.
How about past experience for you? Any past struggles that you can try to relate to this struggle right now for DePaul Club football and trying to get back on the success road?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've been through this a lot. This is nothing new to me. This is no time to panic or freak out. I've seen it a lot. You know, teams can recover from this. I mean, we recovered from it. I mean, we had 7 turnovers, but Loyola, they struggled, you know, in a lot of areas in that game. You know, the game was closer than what the score indicated, and they know that. We know that. But whenever you call, you know, you have unforced turnovers at that, you know, 7 pretty much unforced turnovers, it's going to be a struggle. It doesn't matter. I mean, defense can't play a game, you know, all game. You got to sustain some drives.
You bring up that defensive stat, too. 76% of DePaul plays from Sunday were on the defensive side of the football. So how did you stress that to your team this week, trying to maybe get off the field quick on defense and try to give them some rest and maybe have the offense sustaining some drives?
Yeah, you got to take care of the football. You can't fumble the football, and you can't throw interceptions. You have to sustain drives. You have to get positive yards on first down. You know, you can't go, you know, 2nd and 13, 3rd and 15. You can't have that. You got to get some yards, you know, positive yards, you know, on first down, and you got to sustain some drives. You got to stay on the field.
Was there any particular drive that made you happy overall, probably leaning towards the second half in terms of something that was an improvement on the offensive side of the football from the first half?
Yeah, we had 3 or 4 really good offensive series to start out. You know, on the touchdown series, we had some good drives. I mean, we moved the ball. That's the most frustrating part about it, is that we moved the ball. We were able to do what we wanted to on offense and defense when we decided to play the way we know how. Is when we had those mental lapses, or, you know, just a bad decision and throw an interception, or, you know, a bobbled snap, you know, and it's not all on the quarterback. You know, there was a lot of breakdowns, you know, particularly on offense, and some poor tackling on defense that could have really changed the game around. But like I said, it's a learning experience. We all got to get through it. It's no one person's fault, you know, and at the end of the day, it falls on me. And we'll make adjustments, and we'll figure out a way to turn this around.
Who was one player that really showed improvement on the offensive side of the football? I mentioned a series or two, but who's one player that stood out to you that you really maybe talked to him after the game and said, a good job adjusting against Loyola?
You know, there's a number of guys. You know, Demetrio, he did really well. Despite, you know, the struggles on offense, you know, he took advantage of his opportunities. Andrew Sarkeesian had a couple decent plays. And Eddie Serrano, you know, whatever, you know, he made, you know, the most of what he had, you know, running out the pocket and, you know, ultimately throwing a touchdown pass. So there was a number of guys, you know, along with John Meisler, you know, offensive linemen don't get a lot of praise, but he was probably the most consistent offensive lineman. He played really well the whole game, and he did his job, you know, and, you know, we'll continue to get better. We'll be all right.
You are listening to Club Football Weekly here on Radio DePaul Sports, the student voice of your DePaul Blue Demons. I'm Eli Herskovich, head coach Carlos Jones, and safety IvanRojas in studio. Let's talk about third down percentages from this past weekend. Ivan, I want you in on this too for the defensive side here. But first, Coach, let's talk about the offense. 2 for 13 on third downs. Third downs are a big part of games. Talk about sustaining drives. That's a huge down to do it. Try to continue out what you have. How do you look to improve upon third downs?
So you have to be better on first down. You have to get positive yards on first down. You have to shorten your first down percentage. If you get, you know, negative or no yards, you know, or 1 or 2 yards on first down, you're automatically in a 2nd and long, you know.
Are you looking to try to improve in some ways the balance? You mentioned the balance in the passing game and the running game. Well, maybe trying to run the ball, throw some quick screens on the first down too?
No, not necessarily. You just got to be consistent. You just got to, you know, you got to execute the plays that we call. Like I said, we did a lot of good things on offense, but you have to execute. You know, I can call any play in the world. If you don't execute it, it's not going to work. You know, so the guys have to make the plays. You know, we just got to be better in our execution. You know, we can't have mental lapses. You got to let the nerves set in and play through it because it's not going to go away.
Ivan, on defense, how do you look to get better on stopping Oakland coming up this weekend. Not their particular team, but to improve upon against Loyola on third downs. How do you look to get off the field quicker?
I think we need to just take the opportunities presented to us. We're a defense. We work well together, and we need to know that it's our job to get them off the field. We needed to dig deep. We were on that field for 76% of the time. We were tired. We still dug deep. We got out there. We made stops when we could, and we just have to have faith in our defense to get the offense back out on that field.
Is there a way that you look to continue your success and a confidence that you have going into this week against Oakland? Personally.
Yeah, I think, the coach is putting me in and, having faith in my abilities and putting me in that position, that gives me a tremendous amount of confidence, and my teammates, having faith in me. That makes me want to play my heart out there, and I'm going to leave it out on that field. We're a young team. It's fresh in the season, but we got a long way to go.
To both of you, head coach Carlos Jones and IvanRojas, from the game, and just to have a crowd right there at Loyola, to have some DePaul fans that were supporting you, an unexpected crowd too. As you both told me before the show, around 30 DePaul fans showing up, and the same for Loyola. How much confidence did that bring you two into the game?
Oh yeah, it was huge. It was huge. Like I said, that we had those fans out there, and then had signs, and you can hear them cheering and yelling certain players' names, friends and family, and really supportive. You didn't hear any negative talk. Even when we had a bad play, they were always trying to pick us up and cheer us on and keep us going. So that's huge. And I think that really did help us, because there were some times where we were down and heads were sinking a little bit, and then you get the crowd and you hear people yelling your name and saying, "You guys got it, you can get back in it," and so on and so forth. I think that boosted guys and made guys get an extra gear and keep going.
Yeah, I think seeing the fans there, it showed a tremendous amount of pride. It gave us a lot of fuel to get out in that field, see the fans out there, parents, students. It's tough to get out there, and we want to thank every fan and parents that come out and support us. That we love that. We'll take that any day, and it gives us a tremendous amount of pride to get out in that field.
Are there still DePaul Club football shirts being sold this weekend over the coming weeks?
Oh yeah. We have a nice stock of shirts, so they're available anytime. You could just contact us through our Facebook page, DePaul Club Football. Alex Smith is the point man on that. But anytime anybody you see with DePaul Club football stuff on, or anybody that on campus that plays for the team, they could get you access to the shirts.
So Alex Smith is not only the Mike linebacker on defense, but he's the Mike man for the shirts.
Absolutely. He's a big part.
Contact Alex Smith. If you want to contact us, you can call on in 773-325-4511. We're talking. Coach, before we play this, I guess, just an intro for fans. How are you able to, as a coach, slow yourself down after a game? You talk about the media. Slow yourself down through the media and say, I need to be under control and get calm and composed.
You have to be professional. It's a part of the game. You're not going to, everything's not going to go your way. Everything's not going to be right. You're not going to be happy with everything that happens, whether it's the way the game is officiated, or the way some of the players played, or, anything that goes on. You just have to, stay professional and realize that this is a part of the game, and this is a part of the profession. And, just take it, one step at a time and don't lose it.
Bears wide receiver Brandon Marshall didn't show up to his post-game interview after the game. So I'm happy that you have a different mentality than Brandon Marshall does. I love it. You're being appreciative towards the fans, and you're loving the attitude and the enthusiasm that they brought on Sunday.
Absolutely. That was a huge thing for us, and we really needed it. It kept us going, and it made the guys really really excited and proud to be playing for DePaul, and they really enjoyed having the fans there.
Demetrios Serrano was mentioned again. How do you look to get him more in space against Oakland this upcoming weekend, trying to give him more success in what he could do well?
Just got to put him in some different positions on the field at the receiver position, and just move him around, and just make sure that we find him on the field. I'm sure that Oakland has got some information on us, and they've seen who we're going to work with, and we just got to make sure that we can get the ball in his hands along with the other receivers, and hopefully make some big plays.
Do you know how long Oakland has been around for, club football-wise?
Not particularly sure. I know they've been around a few years, but I'm not particularly sure about their history. No, I'm not.
Okay, so maybe an even advantage coming in this weekend against Oakland compared to what you faced off against with Loyola, who has a lot of experience, but you do too. You scrimmage against them, so you knew each other pretty well. But you, like you said earlier in this show, you have to work out the kinks. It's the first club football game. There's a lot of pressure on your players.
Yeah. Every team, we're a little brother, and that's what I tell the guys at practice every day. We're a little brother, and these teams are going to treat us like that. They're going to treat us like we're not supposed to win, like we're not supposed to compete with them on the field, and we have to prove otherwise. And I think Loyola understands that, we do have a competitive team, and that they're not going to just, we're not going to be an easy out. Like I say, the other score, may show otherwise to other people, but we know, and Loyola definitely knows what that is. I mean, when you, like I said before, when you have 7 turnovers, even Tom Brady can't win a game with 7 turnovers.
That was disgusting on Monday Night Football.
Absolutely, and you can see, even a legend like that, when you turn the ball over, bad things happen.
Ivan, is there a way that you look to maybe take the pressure off yourself? Obviously, like you said, 10 days into coming into playing for DePaul Club football. So is there a little less pressure coming in here against Oakland this upcoming weekend?
Well, we've been through it. It was the first game. A lot of guys had nerves. I haven't been on that field in a long time, and it puts you through a mental game. And you got to show up on the physical side. So we've been through it. We know what to expect. We got hit in the mouth. We just got to remember to hit back.
Is there a way that you look to hit back? How do your defensive players, and you being on the defensive side of the football, one of the leaders, try to respond against Oakland over the weekend?
In-game adjustments. As soon as we see something, we need to be on top of it, and we need to stop it.
Was that something that didn't happen on Sunday, or you look to do better?
Yeah, I think, we were figuring it out. Like we said, it's the first game. We got to work the kinks out, and we got a feel for it now. Now we know what to do and what to expect.
We're going to coach the game coming up here on Saturday against Oakland on the road, about a 6.5 hour trip for your team. Is it going to be a tough road, literally, on the way there? Maybe a little jet lag coming into, not plane-wise, but a road lag, if that's a word, coming into Michigan this upcoming weekend?
Whenever you're on the road and it's a long trip, that presents a little bit of an issue, with guys, being a little stiff and everything, but that's where the mental aspect comes in. You got to be mentally tough. You got to, fight that little adversity. This is a difficult sport, and nothing is given to you. Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy that's worth it. So, everything that's worth anything is going to be difficult. So, I tell the guys that all the time. I yell it on the sideline a lot of times when we have adversity and things go wrong. Nothing is easy that's worth it. So, it's another bump in the road we got to deal with. We're not the only team that deals with it. Everybody has to travel. Ohio Tech just went all the way down south, I think, to the Carolinas to play Coppin State. So, it's a journey. So
They're road lag too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody has to do it. But they play 11, we play 11. So it's not going to be any more difficult than anything else that anybody else has had to overcome.
Where did you get that mentality from? The nothing easy is worth it, or vice versa. How did you get that mentality as a coach, maybe growing up, or where did that come from?
It's just something that's instilled in me. I've learned a lot from a lot of coaches. My grandfather really has imparted a lot of wisdom in me, and that's a big part of learning a lot of those little cliche comments and just different things as far as get through life and tough struggles and how to overcome things. And then I've worked with a lot of coaches. I've learned from a lot of good coaches who've had a lot of success. And I steal a couple of their little lines. I'm actually not sure where I got that from. I know I posted it up a few times, but I think it's something that it's not just for sports, but for life. I mean, it's it just makes sense, and yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good summed up of what that means to you. Ivan, what does that mean to you, talking about playing football for this DePaul Club football team and then trying to bring what you're learning on the field and also some of the great words that Coach has to say for your career?
Well, number one is pride. Putting that jersey on means something, but you got to earn it every week. That takes hard work. Big commitment. Where it's tough for students here. And it's a big commitment. You got to put school first, and then you got to come to practice, put the pads on, and get ready to work. And now with these road trips, it's a lot. It's where the mental aspect comes in. You got to put some things aside. Not school, but my social life. I already got my girlfriend yelling at me, but it's about the commitment and.
Does she understand that you're playing football, Ivan?
Not yet. She's kind of. I don't think she believes me quite yet. She doesn't. She didn't believe me to play on a football team.
Well, now she does. Now she's getting it through her head. You got to tell her to buy her shirt.
Absolutely, yeah. She's gonna be decked out in gear for the game.
She'll be coming with you on the bus just to have that. She'll be your next. She'll be right there by your side.
I hope so. She'll be cheering me on.
Or not. Or she'll be at home. Maybe watching the game on the Facebook feed. Coach, if you want to let the listeners know where they can find updates during the game, where DePaul Club football where fans can get updated on DePaul Club football.
Just go on Facebook, DePaul Club football, our main open page, and they'll have updates there. They'll have information. Also, just a little quick bit of, we're still accepting players. If there's anybody on campus or, that are DePaul students, grad students, part-time students, full-time students, cohorts, whoever, anybody who is interested in playing football, we're still accepting players for the next few weeks. We'd love to have people come out and have an opportunity to put on DePaul blue and show your school pride.
That's great. That's a good mentality to have. You're always accepting of all new players, trying to get your depth chart a little more certain out here over the next couple weeks. Looking at the matchup here against Oakland on Saturday at 7 o'clock, Matt Boz, the Loyola quarterback, gave you some struggles over the weekend on Sunday. So what kind of techniques and game planning are you expecting from Oakland on Saturday, and how do you look to defend the read option offense like you did against Loyola?
Like we spoke about off air, Oakland has a quarterback much like Boz. I don't know if he's as physical as Boz, but they run that read option, and he's a speedy guy, and he's shifty. But the thing is, we have experience with it now. We've seen it, and we understand, the intricacies of that offense a little bit more now that we've kind of defended it successfully and unsuccessfully, all in the same time. So I think we understand that, and we have film on it. We have a little film on Oakland. So we'll just go in there and go to work, go to the drawing board, look at what we need to do, put the players in the right position, and if they make plays, I don't see why we can't be successful.
That's a good game plan going into Saturday at 7 o'clock against Oakland. You could check out the Facebook feed, DePaul Club Football. That's where you can find all the updates on the game. Ivan, any last words for yourself, for the listeners who are listening and maybe trying to watch you guys the rest of the season?
We're here. We're a team. We're ready to play, and we love the fan support. Players too, guys. You're out there. You have friends. Come play for us. We'll take you.
Coach, are you ready for this 6-hour road trip? Yourself.
I'm still working on that, but like I said, I've coached a long time. I've had a lot of back-to-back flights, a lot of back-to-back bus trips. It's just a routine for me. We'll get it going.
So we'll get an update from Coach Carlos Jones, head coach Carlos Jones, how the road trip went. Not only that, but if DePaul was able to pull out the W, maybe another player in here next week as well. That was head coach Carlos Jones, also safety IvanRojas. I'm Eli Herskovich. We have Sports Flash coming up here. Information about the latest sporting news around the country. That will do it, though, for Club Football Weekly. I'm Eli Herskovich. You've been listening to Radio DePaul Sports, the student voice of your DePaul Blue Demons.